If you'd like to share your Greek story, visit greeklyspeaking.com and sign up to be a guest on the show. Hi, welcome to Greekly Speaking. I'm Eric, and joining me for this episode is Christopher Marshall, who is the charter president of the Gamma Xi Gamma chapter Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, and a recent graduate of the University of North Texas at Dallas, where he earned a master's degree in strategic management. Christopher has achieved great feats in his tenure with Sigmas, including surviving the COVID-19 pandemic after a severe battle with the disease. When it comes to the embodiment of the principles of the motto of the fraternity, Brother Marshall strives for excellence in all he does. I'm pleased to welcome Brother Christopher Marshall to the show. How are you doing today, Frat?
Man, I'm blessed. I'm doing great right now.
It is great to see you here today, man. Any day in 2020 is a blessing for sure, man.
Hey, any day above ground, that's what they say. So.
As you know, we met in person here at a recent community service fundraising drive for the fraternity, where I learned that you recently got your graduate degree, your master's degree, man. So what was that experience like for you?
Whew, it was a rough and tough one. It pushed me to the edge, man. Tell the truth, pushed me to my limits. I thought undergrad was crazy because of the course load and a number of classes. Even though my MBA program was an accelerated program, so we had 8-week classes each semester, so like 4 classes. And the maximum that I allowed you to take was 2 per 8-week periods. And the courses were, at the beginning, it was hybrid, where you go into class, you get some instruction through the lecture, you build a rapport with your classmates, and you're able to work in teams and kind of socialize the information so you're able to retain it through different ways. So for me, fall of 2019 and the first part of spring 2020 was a great experience. I was able to go to class and, have that experience of a traditional setting with a little bit of online presence. Well, 2020 had an interesting wrench to throw in for me when it came to COVID-19, which kind of derailed the traditional aspects of actually being on campus. And so, the last part of my education from summer all the way up to now, fall, it's been remote only, but it still was a challenge, adjusting to this new normal and trying to not allow the psychological effects and physical effects of COVID and other social factors keep me from being so socially depressed or distracted from focusing on my goal. I graduated in 2002, and 2020 is just 2002 rearranged. So that meant something to me, and then it meant something because 2020, and I looked at 2020 as my vision year, a vision of my ancestors' wildest dream, achieving something that they never been able to achieve because they were denied because of, slavery to black codes and also Jim Crow. So for me, it was really important for me to knock this out this year because of what I wanted for my family, the honor that I wanted to bring for my family, and to be able to say, hey, I was the first charter member of the Gamma Xi Gamma chapter that graduated with both a bachelor's from the University of North Texas at Dallas, as well as an MBA, a master's degree. So I was really driven towards those goals and to be able to knock it out this year instead of postponing just because I had that bout with COVID.
That's a fascinating story that a lot of people are actually dealing with, man. Where are you from originally?
Born and raised Dallas, Texas, from Southeast Oak Cliff.
Okay.
It was very important for me to go to that university here in Dallas. I graduated from high school in Dallas. I graduated from college twice in Dallas. And the best part of it is South Oak Cliff, Southern Dallas. We have a stigma when it comes to Southern Dallas. And that has prevented us from economic development in many cases here in Southern Dallas. So it was more important to also graduate from where I was born and raised in my neighborhood. So I enjoyed that.
Okay, well, along with the stigma, we also have a sigma. So I'm pretty sure we could address those challenges, man. What was it like
Yes.
for you in undergrad? What made you decide to go Phi Beta Sigma?
Phi Beta Sigma. It was first in Huey P. Newton, Bobby Seale, Howard Washington, and also Brother John Lewis. My mother always raised me to be conscious and to know my history. And seeing these brothers that have been a part of this movement for us to have social justice and equality and freedom and order in this country, it emboldened me to say, hey, Phi Beta Sigma is for me. So it was the Black Panthers, it was John Lewis, and it was these remarkable brothers that fought for our rights in this country. And so that's what initially got me. The second part that got me was the motto and the principles. You know, I grew up around Greeks, but they didn't disclose that they were Greeks. When I look at couple of my fraternity brothers, brother Ronald Lawrence, who's a reverend, brother Burtis Robertson, who passed a couple of years ago. Brother Burtis was one of the biggest influence because he was a Sigma, but he never disclosed that to me. And throughout my Christian education, he taught me leadership, stewardship, and raised me in my Christian faith as a Presbyterian. And so this brother molded me and really got me into community work. And that's where a lot of things that I do when it comes to Sigma is based in community. Some people look at, oh, he's always this place, that place. And, you know, it's a photo op. They don't look at the work that's behind it. And so a lot of my leadership abilities have come from the people, the brothers that were part of Phi Beta Sigma, as well as other Divine Nine organizations. So those influences is what really said, hey, yeah, Phi Beta Sigma is for me.
It's fascinating to hear why different fraternity and sorority members choose their organizations, but I always detect a common theme. You had some positive influence in your life, much like yourself. The people that influenced me most, I never saw them wear their Greek letters, but they happen to be blue and white, and that's something good, because you know those types of characters, they influence not just sigmas and zetas. They influence a lot of people to carry on and do something positive with their lives, man. So how many people crossed with you on your line?
It was five brothers that chartered at UNT Dallas. And
Okay, and what year and semester was that?
oh, that was spring 17. That was one of the best. Spring 17, man. You know, fall is when I really focus and everything, but spring is when I really have some fun. Get a little bit more sunlight, you know what I mean? We came in and we did our thing. It was rough and tough because we was the charter line, and you know, the closest chapter to us was, I believe, is Paul Quinn. And basically how we learned, you know, the strolling and the culture and stuff for undergraduates is through UTA and Paul Quinn, because those are the closest to our campus. And of course, we traveled around too, so we had a lot of fun doing that. We was the Fatal Five, yeah. And I was live five, number 5, so I was tail, and so man, it was just protect, make sure I got everybody back and make sure that we on point. And being chapter president and being very driven, some of my brothers didn't like me too many times, but we kept that chapter going. But I was definitely on something, like we gonna make it happen. And so we've been chapter of the year twice. The first 2 years that we were on campus, it's a lot of accolades that we got. It's remarkable.
What would you say is the largest impact Phi Beta Sigma's had on your life?
I say 2. The first was the Arthur M. Mitchell Leadership Institute and Sigma Week on Capitol Hill. Phi Beta Sigma flew me and my chapter brother out to Washington, D.C. to go through a leadership development program with other Divine Nine members and also the Congressional Black Caucus. During that time, we also lobbied for 4 substantial bills that would have made great impacts if the Senate would have pushed them along. But we had the opportunity to walk the entire Capitol from the House to the Senate, talking to representatives from all over, but most importantly, the ones that are here representing Texas. And so you had people like Ted Cruz that try to skirt. You had people like Pete Sessions that tried to skirt. They didn't want to talk to us. We were well informed, well trained, and we presented Sigma as well as Divine Nine as Black excellence and as community driven brothers that about service and about lobbying for the most important basic human civil rights and to have social justice in this country. The most important bill that we advocated was HR 429, which was introduced by Hank Johnson out of Georgia. And this was to make, during the time that, these grand juries were reviewing police videos and things like that, it was to make it more transparent for the public so we'll get the evidence and things much faster. So narratives about who Black people are and why they were shot and killed couldn't be twisted and these people be criminalized specifically either because of the color of their skin or maybe a minor mistake that they made in the past. So it was very important for that legislation to me because that's what I've been about since I think Trayvon Martin was the most impactful case to me. Besides him, it'd be Mike Brown and Tamir Rice. And ever since those, it's been a passion, there's been an anger, there's been rage, like James Baldwin say. To be Black is to be conscious, is to always be in a constant state of rage. But for me, it's learning how to hone in and focus that rage towards something positive to make it better for all of us. So the first will be Sigma Week on Capitol Hill that the International Board sent us to. I think for me, when it comes to state, region, and national, having brothers on all levels really walk me through Sigma, mentor me, keep in contact, and financially support my education endeavors was the biggest impact. I didn't join a fraternity for drama or anything like that. I joined it for true brotherhood and for us to work together and be of service to our communities. As we say, we are a brotherhood of conscious men actively serving our communities. And I wanted to stick by that, especially when it comes to our principles and as well as our motto. So those are the two things of Sigma that has really impacted my Sigma walk. No pun intended.
I love it, man. I sometimes think it's brothers from the North or brothers from the South, they have a different perspectives, but I think they just have a different beginning, right? Because you mentioned Black Panthers and how they influenced you. And I know coming from the South side of Chicago, man, we got much of that at, school sponsored trips to hear the Reverend Jesse Jackson. And it always inspired you, number one, to become aware, identify, and speak up and speak out against things that don't look right, don't feel right, especially since I've been here in Texas, how out in your face some of this actually is, and I'm like, wow, it's good to see people willing to constantly get in good trouble. And I think we need more of that, man. Hey, I commend you on your achievement and also on your awareness. It sounds like the things that you have accomplished and have yet to accomplish were set in stone long time ago, even before these graduation dates, man. Shout out to you just for persevering, man, representing your family in that South Dallas area extremely well. What advice would you give to someone who's considering going Greek?
I would say consider who you are first. I've seen a lot of people who crossed into Greek organizations, and I'm one of those brothers. I love my colors. I love what we stand for, but I am Black first. And when I speak to these brothers, no matter what color they are, whether they're MGC, MPHC, I tell them, hey, when you come on to your organization, really consider who you are and why you're doing it. Because a lot of people, when they come into these organizations, they lose themselves. And they feel like their letters make who they are, and they kind of get out of pocket. And I tell them to really examine who you are and why you joining it. Because for me, I look at it as my letters enhance who I already was. There is a level of self-respect, dignity, and divineness that comes with these letters, especially being the first Black fraternity, MPHC, on that campus, a highly political campus. We are to set the example for those that are coming behind us, no matter if they are blue or white or whatever other colors that they are wearing. We are to set this example here and set the standard of excellence. Because when one of us mess up, all of us mess up. It's not just one organization that is impacted by our decisions and our actions. It's the whole lot. So that's what I give the advice to the young brothers. Don't lose yourself. Consider why you're joining and who you are before you join these organizations. And when you become a part of it, carry the same set of excellence and standards and persistence and resilience and perseverance to make sure that you do your due diligence to represent your organizations with the highest ideas of our principles and our mottos. I sound like the brochures, but I'm just telling you, that is what I tell to young brothers coming in, young and old, because everybody get in. So we are inclusive. Definitely what's next for me is to focus on career and community and, just getting my life back in order. When you become a part of these organizations and you trying to put the best foot out there and be of excellence, you tend to not have as much time with family and friends. So definitely getting back to who I was, now that I will have a lot more free time than hitting them bucks like I used to. So that feels good.
I love it. I love it. Hey, so, I see another career for you, man. I definitely see some motivational speaking. I would love to hear a virtual auditorium full of young Black and brown men listening to your story and being inspired to continue to pursue their goals, man. All of you parents out there that has that knucklehead that used to be me, and that wants some words of wisdom spoken to them by some really good people. You need to reach out to this brother Christopher Marshall, man. How about that? Let's do that, man. Hey, brother Christopher Marshall, my fraternity brother. Hey, man, it was a pleasure having you on Greekly Speaking, man, and we wish you much success in your future endeavors, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. To be able to give some encouragement and just talk about, what has driven me to be of excellence in this organization, to be able to represent it as well as many of our honorable brothers. So definitely glad to be here and to be able to share that passion and share my experiences.
On behalf of all the old heads, man, you're doing some good things and you're making us proud, man. And like I said, hey, thanks for spending a few moments to talk to us, and we'll see you in the future, I'm sure.
All right. Thank you so much, brother. I'll talk to you later.